Next speaker, Verusha Maharaj is the advertising and marketing lead for Deloitte Consulting South Africa. Verusha was selected as one of only 20 millennials from the Publicis Group network of agencies worldwide to assist in mapping out the future of the agency. Her passion is experiential marketing, and her MBA thesis was on the impact of big data on activation strategy. Verusha's lockdown insight is that as a detailed planner by nature, lockdown has taught her that sometimes you just need to let go and let life happen. And although Verusha is a detailed planner by nature, if there's one thing lockdown has taught her, it's that sometimes you just need to let go. I said that twice. That's amazing. I love this little teleprompter. It almost feels like I'm like Ferris Bueller on my day off. So I said that twice. The topic today is marketing works, but what about during the pandemic? Welcome, Verusha.
Thank you, Pepe. Okay, I want to start off by saying, first things first, don't panic, okay? It's important to remember that we faced crises like this in the past, and we will face them again in the future. But as marketers, our job is to ensure that we retain our loyal customers, because we know, right, that acquiring a new customer can cost 6 to 7 times more than retaining an existing one. COVID-19 is pushing us into a future we were already heading toward, but faster than we ever thought. In a time of monumental shifts in audiences, interaction needs, and channel capabilities, the question is, how can you retain your existing customer base and embrace the new? How do you build trust and get them to fall in love with you? So right now, I want to take you through some of the trends that we're currently seeing. I'm sure many of us in the industry have come across marketing budgets being cut first during this time. They've almost become a soft target for businesses. But it's important to remember that a cut in marketing activity is just a short-term fix that will definitely have long-term consequences. Maintaining visibility in your market is essential for future profitability. In fact, best practice and long-term studies actually show that the right approach during economic uncertainty is to increase, not decrease your marketing spend. Some brands have had to completely refresh their business models in order to meet customer needs. And a brilliant example of this is the South African brand Granadilla Swimwear. They've launched Granadilla Eats using the Granadilla brand and team, and have partnered with local farmers and popular small businesses to sell fresh fruit and vegetables. Conferences around the world have been cancelled due to COVID-19 concerns, and marketing teams have had to be innovative and agile in their ways of reaching their customers, like IBM did with their Think conference, which went completely digital and reached 3 times more than their original conference did. And who'd have thought we'd be here right now with the Nedbank IMC Conference live streaming? The ways in which people spend their leisure time is changing because of the outbreak and the related social distancing measures. And again, these habits are likely to be sustained. More than half, in fact 61%, plan to continue watching more news after the outbreak, while 55% will prioritize more time with family. We've seen entertainment, learning, and DIY on the rise. I've gone from having never baked a thing in my life to baking banana bread every 3 weeks. A new fear-based change in consumer habits has also resulted in a change in the way that consumers shop. 73% of local consumers now prefer to shop near home, 66% prefer electronic payments over cash notes, and 63% are sticking to the brands they know and love. During COVID-19, retailers, big and small, have been scrambling to set up an online presence with mixed results. Those brands which have spent the last couple of years investing in their online customer journeys, be it via their website, their app, or in new technologies like live streaming, are definitely seeing the payoff. The factors that are influencing brand decisions are also changing, and we're seeing this buy local trend accelerating. The desire to shop local is reflected in both the way that they shop and the products they buy. Self-isolation has also led to increased digital and broadcast media, as well as an increased presence on social networks, with a rise of 43% in Facebook use and 45% in WhatsApp use. as if we needed to be spending any more time on our phones. But digital is likely to be the clear winner here. And companies, even ones who haven't had a Facebook page before, will need to move into social marketing, content marketing, SEO, and influencer-led campaigns. I think it's time for us to get back to basics. In fact, in a recent consumer survey, there were 3 things that I'd like to call out that we saw. Firstly, communication is key. 65% of consumers indicated that their likelihood of purchasing would be based on how well the brand responds to the crisis. 55% of consumers perceived that brands were responding more quickly and effectively to the pandemic than their government was. Consumers actually have faith in the brands and the companies that stand behind them. And a brilliant example of a brand as an advisor was the video that Dove released on their hand washing techniques. And lastly, it's important to realize that your existing creative might strike the wrong tone and push customers away. The McDonald's team in Brazil decided to redraw the iconic arches that made up the brand's logo, drawing the 2 sides of the M apart to signal social distancing, and it received an amazing response. Companies that put their customer needs first, that take a scalpel and not a cleaver to their marketing budget, and nimbly adjust strategies, tactics, and product offerings in response to the shifting demand, are more likely than others to flourish, both during and after a recession. So based on this context, here are some steps I think we should be taking to move forward. Number 1, put concrete actions at the heart of your strategy. Brands need to understand how their customer path to purchase has been completely altered by the COVID-19 pandemic in order to best position themselves for crisis response and recovery. A smooth and self-sufficient online customer experience has never been more important. Brands which innovate for the future of their category in the good times will benefit in the bad times. Brands which don't, well, they won't. An example, Sainsbury, the British grocery retailer, has invested in upgrading its mobile app and e-commerce experience in the last couple of years, which pre-COVID-19 contributed about sales 8% in its grocery business. Now it's 15%, nearly doubling in just a few short weeks. The store's Smart Shop app, which allows contactless payments in store, has also jumped to nearly 1/3 of all transactions, years ahead of uptake projections. Be quick. Marketing teams need to embrace an agile culture of innovation and creativity, because every day brings a new challenge. Brands are finding new ways to work, crunching numbers quickly, and making fast decisions in large and previously bureaucratic organizations. Bird's Eye, if you've heard of it, it's a UK frozen food giant, completely changed its manufacturing and marketing strategy within days to scale up supply at the start of the lockdown. MasterCard pivoted its experience platform, which is the center of its brand, to completely digital experiences as it became clear that physical experiences would end for the foreseeable future. Unilever fast-tracked the launch of a new cleaning product in China based on emerging consumer trends around hygiene, and IBM took a new approach to creative agency briefing, speeding up the creative process to create a TV campaign in less than 10 days. Do not become a me too. Remember that circumstances, like the one that we're in, shapes values. When more than 44 million people have had their circumstances affected because of job loss, businesses will likely see a corresponding shift in their values. And values in turn shape customer behavior. Understanding these shifts is going to be critical for organizations as they determine what their messaging should include and how best to engage with their specific audience. Number 4, be true to your brand. Consumers are hyper-aware of what's changed in their lives, how much it's changed. And businesses should be aware of this. Tailor their messaging to speak to a changed and changing audience. But remember that you also need to remind customers about what hasn't changed. A brand's purpose, for example, doesn't have to change as long as it's clearly thought through and relevant in a world that's responding to and emerging from COVID-19. It'll be our responsibility as marketers to explain to the audience how the brand fits into the new reality. Please, if I can ask you to do one thing, discontinue any campaigns that could appear tone deaf and damage the brand proposition. Number 5, digital transformation is definitely being set under stress. And more than ever, we're required to meet customers where they are. So the omni-channel paradigm is now required at all levels, from communication all the way through to retention. Our lives digitized overnight. Work, school, doctor's visits, church, and even yoga came through us through Wi-Fi. Downloads of video streaming apps increased more than 100% in the past few weeks. In Deloitte's most recent global marketing trend study, 65% of respondents have tried at least one new digital activity for the first time since the pandemic started. It's like we can't transform our digital experience fast enough, and we're even shifting to hybrid business models, where we order online, pick up curbside, no human touch altogether. And yet at the end of the day, feeling like zombies, or should I say zombies, burnt out from so much digital interaction that lacks human connection. I think we just need to find out how we communicate authentically, and we'll be the ones that consumers seek out. Because even though we can't replace the human touch of a hug, we can pay attention to what it means to be more human through our digital experiences. Number 6, work on being different. The biggest challenges often bring even greater opportunities for forcing businesses to innovate. And it's requiring all brands to immediately shift the way that they do things. Yes, you need to first deliver on your brand promise, but make sure that you create strategies for growth for yourself going forward. We see ourselves in a world of new breed SEO. Search has evolved quickly. It's made it even more evident by how people are searching. They're asking for questions like, can I freeze milk? Or does this restaurant deliver? And so boxed search results are extremely coveted. And in 2020, we'll see more people experimenting with interactive content types. These formats that leverage cutting-edge technology, like combining augmented reality with video content, will offer a more immersive and engaging experience. And this is what consumers want, to feel more connected to the brand. Do not forget that you are not restricted to social channels. There is more out there that you can use to innovate. And lastly, listen, listen, listen. I think tapping a direct line to consumers' opinions and values is more vital in a world upended by a pandemic. It's a very thin line that separates empathy from opportunism, but empathy matters. And for marketers to connect with their customers, they need to realize that people are receiving overwhelming and even conflicting information as they navigate this pandemic. And in these circumstances, their decisions are likely more emotional than ever. So even though you might be tempted to simply deliver facts faster and with more clarity, what's more effective for you to do right now is deliver information and messages with greater empathy. The current global crisis has dramatically shaken everyone's lives. Our priorities shifted overnight. Our focus suddenly reverted to the base of the pyramid. Health and safety have taken the front stage, marginalizing everything gratuitous, sidelining all of the interactions that we don't recognize as valuable, especially with the organizations and brands that we don't immediately identify as honest, authentic, and worth our trust. To establish and maintain a relationship with customers, brands cannot simply rely on the appeal of brand communication or the promise of the best price offer on the market. The rules of engagement have changed, and the customer is more right than ever before. The need to digitize has become an urgent imperative, looking beyond competition and embracing collaboration. Now's the time to transform into an agile organization. Now's the time for marketing to tune in with a new way to acknowledge humanity. So if I can leave you with just one question to ask yourself about your marketing campaigns, instead of asking, is it good? Is it bad? Ask yourself, is it human? Thank you.